Hey, what's happening, my fearless networking friends? Todd Falcone here. Welcome back to another episode. Last week's episode, if you did not catch it, we talked about if you're not making money in network marketing, here's why. And during the middle of that episode, I kind of had a thought, and I figured, okay, because the two reasons you're not making money in network marketing is either A, you're not doing the work, or B, you haven't done A, you're not doing the work, or you haven't done the work for long enough, or B, the work that you're doing is just not effective, right? You're just not doing things right. So let's talk about how to do things right, how to improve your prospecting skills. How do you get better at prospecting, okay? This is a very important subject for everybody involved in the network marketing profession. Not everybody's created equal in terms of their ability to get results prospecting. So if you no matter where you are, first of all, can you improve? Yes, you can, okay? I do believe that everything that we do in this business is learnable. You can absolutely learn to get better. I went from absolutely being horrid at prospecting and recruiting to being one of the top recruiters in every company I built. Did not happen by accident. It happened on purpose. It happened because I had the desire to improve, right? So first of all, okay, if you're going to improve, you got to have the desire to improve. You got to be like, I want to get better. And that means you have to work on getting better. You have to go, okay, well, I'm not very good, but if I wanted to get good, what would I do? In fact, think about this in anything in your life. If you wanted to get good at anything, what would you do? In fact, that would be a good thing in your notes. If you're taking notes, depending on where you're finding me right now, you think about that. Like, okay, well, if you wanted to be great at golf, what would you do to get great at golf? If you wanted to be great at fishing, what would you do to be great at fishing? You've never fished before. You've never played golf before. How would you improve? Same thing here. Okay, so all right, I've never done network marketing before. How can I get good at it? Well, you can get good, number one, by doing it, right? So the action of actually doing it, right? The experiential learning that we get by doing something gives us feedback, right? But it also involves us being present of mind enough to know if you're doing something and it's not working, you got to go, well, I did it that way and it didn't work. In fact, for example, when I first started recruiting professionals years ago, I started calling, I'd never done it before. I started calling realtors and mortgage people, and I was like coming up with what to say. And the first script that I used, or the first peak interest question I used, didn't work out very well. I was like, okay, well, that question's not really getting a result. Maybe I'll shift the question around, change it a little bit. Well, that one's getting a little bit better result, but maybe I can do better. And I ultimately got it down to asking, and some of you guys know this question, do you at all keep your options open in terms of making money outside of what you're currently doing in the blank profession, which I think it took me like 6 years to get to that question, which is kind of crazy, but I kept refining it until I got the question, the right question that would elicit the most positive response. So how did I learn to do that? Well, I learned by doing, right? So you have a great opportunity to improve by doing. Like, I live on a golf course. So if I wanted to get good at golf, my 13-year-old kid just took up playing golf, and he's like already like, he's just like little, he's like mini me. He's like he was on the golf course the other night till dark, and it's beautiful. I love seeing it. And he, if you've never played golf, how could you expect to play a great round of golf, right? So if you get on the golf course, or if you get in the field, if you get out there and you start prospecting, that is an opportunity for you to improve, for sure. That's number one. You can get good by doing, but you have to be present of mind enough to know what's working and what's not working for you. So you're like, oh, I did that, I said that, man, the person, that didn't work out so well, maybe I'm going to change this a little bit. So that's something to think about. Number two, and this is something I talk about all the time, practice, right? Like, my kid has been at the driving range practicing all the time. He's practicing, he's hitting balls. And I actually went out with him the other day, and it was cool because I got a chance to, for the first time, watch my 13-year-old hit a golf club. And what I'm doing, now this is interesting. So I'm watching him, and he's practicing, he's hitting balls. But he doesn't really know the game that well because he's never played it, so he doesn't know what's right, what's wrong. Doesn't know how to, rotate the shoulders, cocking the wrist, whatever it might be. But he's at least practicing, so he's putting in the time. I think sometimes people don't understand the value of like intentional practice. Like, when you practice, you can get really good by being super intentional. Like, when I go practice, I'm not just going out there whacking balls and hoping that the result that I'm going to get is good. I'm really thinking about my posture, my stance, my grip, the tempo of the golf club. And so that's the presence of mind part that I'm talking about. It also requires some level of awareness of what is a good golf swing versus not. And I think one of the things that you can also do is through observation. So number one is doing. Number two is practice, like you guys have probably heard many times. Number three is look, if you're going to improve, like, why not look at somebody who's really good and see if you can study somebody who's really good? Watch somebody who's really good. Watch somebody who gets really good results. That's something that I did very early on in my network marketing career when I was not getting results. I found somebody who was literally in my office. He was about 5-6 years older than I was. Actually, he was 27. I was 22. Yeah, about 5. So he was good. I wasn't. So I watched him, how he talked, what he said, how he said it. And I try to model what he did. That's one of the reasons, like when I do live prospecting calls, people come from miles around to watch me do it, because that learning through observation is really, really powerful, right? It's a very powerful way for you to improve. So you can learn by doing, you can improve by doing, you can improve by practice, you can improve by observation. Number 4, and this is something that you can certainly do as well. I mean, you can have somebody coach you. I've coached a lot of people with one-on-one with regard to prospecting, and have them record their calls and listen back to their calls and go, okay, stop the tape. Let's listen to that. Let's hear what you said, and what did you discover from what you just did and how the prospect responded to you, because you can pick up on some things. In fact, I should have said the previous one, but I'll say it in a second. Having a coach who's really good look at you, like, why would you ever want to get coached by somebody who's never prospected? They don't have a clue. Why would you ever want to learn how to do network marketing from somebody who's never done network marketing? Why would you want to learn how to do anything from somebody who's never done that thing? So that can be of value too. And that's, of course, that's an investment. That's something for people who are very, very serious. Like, I want to get better. I do one-on-one coaching, very limited, but I know for a fact that if you're struggling with your prospecting results, if I had you one-on-one, I can absolutely change you, for sure. I can help you get better results, because I have many years under my belt of prospecting, and I have a different set of eyeballs than somebody who is brand new. So, number 1, learn by doing. Number 2, practice. Number 3, observation. Number 4, having a coach work with you. Number 5, look, if you're not doing this, and this is another thing I tell people all the time, is record yourself. Record some of your calls. Record some of your reach outs. You can look back at them yourself and see if you can figure out what's going on. But the thing is, you don't have this, perhaps yet, don't have this professional set of eyeballs that can pick up on the flaws. Like, my kid the other day, like, I was recording his golf swing, and he's looking at the golf swing. He doesn't know a good golf swing from a bad golf swing. So how can he really make an improvement versus a professional golf coach looking at it going, wait a minute, every time you take the club back, you're straightening up your legs, you're totally changing your spine angle. And he's like, spine angle, what's that? Like, so understanding, like, you can pick up on and do some things for yourself that will help you improve, but and I would suggest that you record yourself, because that's a very valuable way to improve. And something I've talked about for years. I've been teaching for many, many years. I guarantee you that'll help you improve. But then having those recordings brought to somebody who's really an expert and say, here's some of my prospecting calls. What do you think? What would you say that I need to change? And when you have an expert looking at that can be a huge, huge difference maker. So I do also think it's important that you pay attention. Again, the observation side of things. Like, if you're looking at somebody, for example, in your company that's a top recruiter, they're on the leaderboard, they're getting great results. Are you doing the same thing that they're doing? Or are you doing it differently in terms of the processes? Like, where are you taking them? What presentation are you putting them through? Are you doing the same exact thing that person is doing? Well, you find out, oh my gosh, I'm doing something totally different than this person is doing. Well, maybe that's a reason why you're not getting results. So, this whole idea of improvement, of taking a skill, learning it, and then having the retention of that skill is really important. I'm sure you can read books on it. That's going to help. I mean, I got this right here, Fearless Networking. This little book is very impactful in terms of helping you understand the fundamentals of prospecting, because it's really a book about prospecting and network marketing. that could be something. But then it's like I got to incorporate practice. I've got to incorporate observation. I need to incorporate perhaps working with a coach if I really want to get good. I need to record some of my calls. Another thing would be, and this is really powerful, I don't think very many people actually do this, is what if you took the time through practice, and I know we're kind of in a weird deal where we can't really physically get together at the moment still, but when you take the time to have like a group conversation, like a group discussion over something, that is a very powerful thing from the standpoint of a retention of a skill. So, let's say you were doing an exercise and you had groups of 3 people in little groups of 3, and they're practicing prospecting, and people are paying attention, and you're rolling through different scenarios of inviting somebody, and then they say no, or I need to think about it, or how much money are you making, or whatever the curveball is that's thrown your way. And then afterwards you actually had a discussion about, I got this, objection, how much money are you making? And then we had a group discussion around how to handle that objection. Guaranteed you guys are going to come up with even more ideas on in the future how to handle that situation differently and probably more effectively than you did in the role-playing exercise or the rehearsal exercise. So I would suggest to you that if you're doing the work, not getting the result, not getting the result that you'd like to be getting, or you look at yourself and you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 in the different areas of prospecting. 1, I'm terrible. 10, I'm amazing. And if you're under like a 70% in any of those follow-up, inviting, overcoming objections, closing, whatever they are, whatever the things that are involved in the prospecting process, if you're rating yourself extremely low in any of those areas, then you need to look at each area and go, well, how can I improve? What can I do differently to get a better result? You can't just keep doing this. Well, you can continue to do the same thing and hope that you're going to get better, but I don't think that's a really great strategy. If you're not getting the result, if you don't like what's happening, these are a few things that you can do to improve your prospecting results. But you got to take action on it. If you don't take any action on it, you're not going to get better results. I wanted to get good because I was terrible. I wanted to improve, so I did everything I could to get as good as I possibly could. And it will make a night and day difference if you actually work on getting good. So quick review. Number 1, you got to do, right? You learn by doing. Number 2, I don't even know what order I went in now. Number 2, observation, right? So observing other people and paying attention to what other people are doing. Practice is another thing. Taking that time to practice, taking the time to record yourself and listen back to what you're doing. Taking the time potentially to have somebody who's an expert look at what you're doing and give you direct feedback. That's powerful because especially if you're not very good or you don't have a high degree of expertise, having an expert look at what you're doing is going to make a major impact on the kind of results, because a novice trying to teach a novice is hard. But an expert teaching a novice, an expert in that category teaching a brand new person, they have a huge advantage because they've done it, they've seen it, they've experienced it many times over, and they have a very different set of eyeballs than anybody else. So look, if you're struggling with your prospecting, there you go. Those are some ways that you can improve your prospecting skills. Now, I don't know where you're at. I'm glad you're here. You might be on my podcast. You might be on my YouTube channel. The rest of the story, everything happens at toddfalcone.com. For this episode, if you go to toddfalcone.com/episode 91, you'll see all the details there. toddfalcone.com/episode 91. And when you come to this episode on my page, there's some free downloads right here for you that'll help you become a better network marketer. So make sure you grab those on this page or hop over to this page if you're not yet there. So anyhow, I hope you're having a great day. We'll see you on the next episode. Stay fearless, my friends. Until next time.